Thank you for joining me. In this video, we are talking about having a productive relationship with ourselves. Here we are in the Matrix, in this 3D illusion, in which the tides of change ebb and flow. As they ebb and flow, all of us are constantly finding ourselves at many crossroads. What decisions are we going to make? What paths are we going to take? These questions are continuously being asked by reality. In order to cultivate a more robust relationship with ourselves, we have to be clear what leads to a bad relationship with ourselves, what leads to dysfunctional realities in our lives. You already know. You already know what the truth is. You just have to accept it. The truth, when accepted, must be followed. So once we recognize what behaviors, what thoughts, what tendencies in our lives lead to certain ailments of the self, then we can come up with a better way. The inner workings of the soul are reflected in our psychologies, in our behaviors, in our attitudes. I mean, everything we experience, everything we do, everything we seem to receive from life, it's all giving us a picture of the individual essence. Your individual essence, as within, so without. That's basically what I'm saying. Now, we're in a society that does not seem to really value a true connection with one's own world. Society at large values outer rewards. The rewards society offers pale in comparison to the majesty of the beautiful discoveries that you yourself can only discover. There is a treasure trove within your being, within my being, within the living soul's essence, but we have been locked. And it's all too common to give in to the ways of the world and lock ourselves away from our own divinity. Let us not be tempted to treat ourselves as beasts instead of gods. Let us not be tempted to live a lie in place of living an uncomfortable truth. Lies, by the way, never lead to anything but more illusion, more delusion, more suffocation in the grand scheme of things. We call this awakening because energies have been in slumber, and who's going to be the one to awaken them? Is it going to be you? Maybe you want to be a living demonstration for the kind of energies that you see absent here. I definitely don't want to support degeneration as much as I can. Now, in order to take control of our souls, we have to take control of the body and of the mind. Through these mediums can the soul be penetrated. We could say that the ghouls and gags and tricks and traps out here in the Matrix are designed to weaken the mind and the body so the soul can be weakened. Without true discipline, there is no self-love. and no true, authentic, productive change. We need to maintain a sense of discipline, physically, mentally, in our posture, in our interactions. We each require a different kind of awareness because each of us have experienced different diseases within the fabric of our being, bleeding out into our behaviors. In order to have a productive relationship with the self, we first and foremost need to be honest. And in order to be honest, we have to pay attention. What leads to what? What effects are produced from what causes? In order to have a productive relationship with the self, we have to respect the body and the mind. We can't penetrate the soul any which way but through the body and through the mind. And we could say, this is why we observe this battlefield out here. It's like there's all these tricks and traps trying to get you to renounce your dedication to discipline, to spiritual work, to self-realization in favor of some kind of carnal pleasure, some kind of hedonism, some kind of external pursuit that assumes eventual glory. The world isn't going to do anything but taunt us with all of these energies that are outside of a true regenerative presence. You want to be centered. I know you do. I want to be centered too. There are many storms we can create, that we can become a part of, that we can make bigger if we're not careful. Those possibilities exist, but not for one who is buddies with themselves. We gotta be buddies with the self. What is our connection to the body? What is our connection to the mind? I mean, these questions might seem a bit boring, but I think it's way more boring to live a disconnected life where we're living a lie or trying to live a lie. Any lies we try to live out, any illusions we support, any dysfunction we think we can sweep under the rug, eventually leads to hell. When we unnecessarily burden the mind and body through dysfunctional patterns, we end up losing a grip on our own soul journeys. We end up losing touch with the sacred innermost, with that magic. We gotta pull ourselves out of the muck. And in order to do this, we gotta stop acting like a bunch of doofuses, okay? Like what we perform on the stage of reality has a lasting imprint on the soul. This I am certain of. And if you're not certain of that, then I suppose this video isn't for you. The reason we want to cleanse the various behaviors that we know lead to more deadened realities for ourselves is not just to have a more depthful experience in the here and now. in this lifetime, but it's also to service magic itself, to be in service of the magic period. Why would we want to be in service of magic, of a regeneration, of that which is alive and truly within one's own sovereignty? We want this experience because it feels better. I mean, if you want an experience that is full of turmoil and confusion and disease and unawareness, then fortunately we're in a maze of confusion and we can easily get lost in it. There is no self-love without true discipline. So because there is such intensity of mental and physical and spiritual turmoil, discipline seems out of the question for many people. But I'm telling you, baby, discipline remains as the only vessel through which self-love can be experienced. How do we discipline ourselves? Well, figure it out. I'm not a life coach. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to encourage you to snap out of the fog, whatever that fog is. And the fog is always trying to roll over. So we have to allow the inner world to be more important, even more real. Like, I know myself so much that nothing can sway me from my path. People go on wild goose hunts here, looking for love, looking for success, looking for sex, looking for highs, looking for intoxication, looking for respect. It's all of this searching. Maybe what we're really searching for is a decent connection with the self. And because no one ever taught us this, and because the messages that saturate the world kind of say the opposite, I guess we have to figure it out on our own. Here you are, and whatever has occurred can be used for the greatest redemption the universe has ever seen.